What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a super interesting Liverpool transfer news video, and in this video we will have Kylian Mbappe on why he admires so much what Liverpool have done under Jurgen Klopp in the Premier League. So Kylian Mbappe talking about Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp specifically in this interview, and also we will have an in-depth detailed look at the behind the scenes of Liverpool's transfer strategy and which players they should sign. And that interview is by Christian Falk, the head of football at Bild and Sport Bild newspapers, one of the biggest sports newspapers in Germany, and he's a German football expert, Christian Falk, and he's talking about Kai Havertz potentially going to Liverpool, Jadon Sancho, Timo Werner. So lots of interesting information for you guys to unpack in this video. So if you are excited about these videos, leave a like, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and turn on the bell notifications so you never miss the latest Liverpool and football news videos, updates on my channel. I will try to give you guys daily updates on all interesting topics around football. In this interview with Kylian Mbappe, he opens up on his hopes for his personal future, who his idols were growing up, and at the end of the interview he will say why he admires Jurgen Klopp so much. So the first question, how will the pandemic change your outlook on football? And he said these times have put everything into perspective. What is really important is that we stay safe and keep our families and loved ones safe. Football will return where it is safe to return. And Kylian Mbappe just turned 21 years old. He already has 4 French league titles and a World Cup winners medal. So what kind of ambitions does he have? And he answered, to keep being successful. With the national team next season we have the European Championship, and that will be our ambition, to be victorious there. It is a big ambition of mine to win the European Cup, and to be part of PSG winning their first Champions League would be very, very special. And of course it would be nice to win the Ballon d'Or in the future, but that's not something that keeps me awake at night, Kylian Mbappe continued. I don't think I have to win it next season or the season after. There is no time limit I have put on it. Always I will put Paris Saint-Germain and the national team as my priority. Then if personal honors come from my performances, then it is a bonus. And always I'm looking to improve, Mbappe said. I play with so many experienced players for both the national team and PSG. I'm always looking to learn and improve. First, Zidane. Zidane was my role model for everything. He achieved what he achieved with the national team, and then it was Ronaldo. He won so much and still continues to be a winner even after so much success. So Mbappe's role models are Zinedine Zidane growing up, and then Cristiano Ronaldo. Mbappe is after legacy because he said this: both these players, Zidane and Ronaldo, both left their mark in the history of football, and I want to leave my own chapter in the history books. Children have so many dreams. I want to help children live their dreams. There are so many children who have so much potential, but they don't have the money or the opportunity to fulfill that potential. When I was younger, I used to look up to idols, and now I don't just want youngsters to look up to me, but to know I care enough to want to make a difference in their lives. So that's why he has a passion for helping underprivileged youngsters. That's my comment, just at the end of it, that's what he's referring to. And Mbappe has featured in behind the closed doors matches played in the Champions League. Both games between Paris Saint-Germain and Dortmund were behind the closed doors. He was asked how difficult it is to play games without fans for a long period of time. He said fans are such an important part of football, and to play without them will be strange for the players. These are unprecedented times though, and the safety of everybody must take priority. And also now the big question, are you a keen watcher of the Premier League? And he just talks about Liverpool without even the interviewer mentioning Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. So this just shows what a huge admiration Mbappe has for Liverpool. This is what he said: this season Liverpool have been a machine in the Premier League. They have made winning look so easy, but the truth is that it never is easy. To be as ruthless as Liverpool have been, that would come from having a very, very good manager and lots of hard work in training. Performances like Liverpool have been doing, they just don't just happen. You have to practice and you have to work very, very hard on the training ground, and you have to execute it in a perfect, almost perfect way on the football pitch, and that comes from a very good manager and a lot of hard work in training. So Mbappe, it looks like and it feels like that he has a huge admiration for Liverpool, for Jurgen Klopp, for how Liverpool play on the pitch, for how incredible winning machine Liverpool have been in the Premier League. I mean, Mbappe literally called Liverpool a machine. And that's what Liverpool have been this season and last season as well, a winning machine. We have an incredible like 90% win ratio, or 90 plus percent win ratio in the Premier League, and that doesn't happen by accident. So Mbappe hit the nail on the head in this interview. Do I think Mbappe will play for Liverpool? Maybe in the future that could happen, because I can clearly see that Mbappe has a soft spot for Liverpool. He was previously asked which team does he play with on FIFA, and he answered Liverpool because of Jurgen Klopp and because of how they play and how many amazing players they have. So he clearly has a soft spot for Liverpool. I think Mbappe's ultimate dream is Real Madrid. He is a Real Madrid fan. He was a Real Madrid fan growing up, and of course Zidane and Cristiano Ronaldo, two of his idols, they both played for Real Madrid for large periods. So I'm sure that sooner or later Mbappe will end up at Real Madrid. Zidane openly talked about it, but maybe in the future, maybe in 2 or 3 years, Mbappe could be a serious transfer target for Liverpool. Right now, I don't think so, because this pandemic just puts so much financial uncertainty on every club. But in the near future, I think that Liverpool have a chance of getting Mbappe, because Jurgen Klopp is a big fan of Mbappe as well. He talked about it, that if Liverpool have the financial means to pull off this transfer, then he would love to have Mbappe at Liverpool. But we shall wait and see. I think we should still wait for 2 or 3 years until we can seriously think about getting Mbappe. But the fact that Mbappe likes Liverpool is certainly an advantage for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool in the future. If Liverpool want to pursue this transfer, maybe one day, we shall wait and see. Now let's listen to what Christian Falk, one of the best German football experts, and he's the head of football at Sportsbild newspaper, what he had to say about the transfer targets for Liverpool. And he was asked what kind of exciting players are there in the Bundesliga to watch who might be looking for new clubs at the end of the season. Do you have any personal favorites that you enjoy watching? And Kai Havertz was the answer. And Christian Falk said this: especially those who witnessed his match for Leverkusen against Werder Bremen. He scored 2 goals, he's one of the hottest players on the market. However, he wants to be transfers during this summer, but FC Bayern won't be willing to gamble on him right now. For Bayern Munich, Havertz is of course very interesting, but the club Bayern would prefer a transfer 1 year later in the 2021. That means Havertz will take on the focus of international clubs, top clubs like Barcelona, Real Madrid, and of course Liverpool. I've heard that there is interest from these clubs. The agents of Havertz informed Leverkusen about this, but there are no offers yet. It's clear to me that you English fans highly rate Jadon Sancho as well. No one at Dortmund I spoke to thinks he will be sold this summer. If an offer comes in of over 100 million euros, his transfer will be considered. But the fact is, Sancho excites the Premier League, and he will continue to maintain their interest in him through 2021. And please don't even think about Erling Haaland. He has only been playing in the Bundesliga since January. We don't want to lose him this soon. The English clubs won't have a chance to buy him this year. So basically he's talking about the English clubs trying to buy up the best talent in German football. And I think Liverpool will be seriously interested in Kai Havertz and Jadon Sancho, and maybe even Haaland in 2 or 3 years. But right now I think Havertz and Sancho are the 2 main interests for Liverpool. And Christian Falk said this: Havertz could be an interesting player for Liverpool, but the agents and the heads of the club I spoke to at Leverkusen didn't mention them as one of the clubs interested. So far we have no sign that Liverpool has ever had interest in Jadon Sancho, and if Jurgen Klopp really wanted to sign him, Dortmund would have already known that. Klopp would never try and bring a player from Dortmund without first contacting the German side. Manchester United has been chasing him for months. He is good friends with Rashford and they keep close contact with one another. And he was asked about Marco Grujic, who is of course a Liverpool player on loan at Hertha Berlin. Are there any clubs interested in Grujic? Marco Grujic's first season at Hertha was outstanding. They would have preferred to sign him, but they had no money. Also, Grujic always saw himself as a Liverpool player in the long run. In the second year on loan, Marco suffered due to the many changes of coaches, and he has no form at all. Hertha would like to see him find his old form. For now, they are interested. Grujic himself wants to go back to England unless he receives a clear signal from Klopp that he doesn't want him. So Grujic still has ambitions of making his breakthrough at Liverpool. And talking about Hertha Berlin, not long ago Karius, the current Liverpool goalkeeper, terminated his contract with Besiktas, and it looks like that Karius might fancy a move to Hertha Berlin, considering that his girlfriend is living in Berlin. Indeed, Hertha's goalkeeping coach Zsolt Petri, who is a fellow Hungarian of mine, spoke already with Karius, but the interest in him is weak. At the moment he is not the number one goalkeeper candidate at Hertha, but we will see what happens next. That was Christian Falk's answer. And now it's a very interesting topic of the future of Jurgen Klopp. It is no secret that the German national team are interested in Jurgen Klopp. It is uncertain if Jurgen Klopp would leave Liverpool for another challenge in the near future. But if so, Nagelsmann has been mentioned by the media as one of the ideal Klopp successors at Anfield. What do you think about this? Is there any truth in the consideration of Nagelsmann as a future Liverpool manager? Or do you see him staying in the Bundesliga for a long time? Was the next question put to Christian Falk, and he answered, I honestly have never heard of this scenario before. Nagelsmann does not rule out going abroad one day, but he has always emphasized that he only wanted to prove to Bundesliga fans that he could win titles. That's why he rejected the possibility of joining Real Madrid. At least that's how he describes it. However, I believe 120% that Košice, Jurgen Klopp's agent, would suggest Nagelsmann as his successor. Nagelsmann is so ambitious that he would certainly not say no to Liverpool in the future. And now let's go back in time for a few years, because when Jurgen Klopp arrived at Liverpool, Köln's left back Jonas Hector and at the time Mönchengladbach's midfielder Mahmoud Dahoud were very strongly linked at Liverpool, and Christian Falk lifts the lid on both transfer sagas. The rumors of Dahoud and Klopp existed 1 year before Dahoud went to Dortmund. Since then, however, Dahoud's performances has clearly deteriorated, and Liverpool's performance has increased. I think it is unrealistic to think that Klopp will get him now. The performance gap is too big. Besides, Jurgen Klopp already had gotten a pretty similar player like Dahoud 1.5 years ago in Naby Keita. If he had been convinced of Dahoud at the time, he would have already bought him. So why would he buy him now? So this also applies to Jonas Hector, who hasn't gotten better in the past few years. He has lost his place in the German national team, and although he is solid, would he really improve Liverpool now? As a backup left back, maybe, but I'm sure that he prefers to play every week at Köln. And talking about left backs, currently Liverpool don't have a solid second choice left back at the club. And a couple of months ago it was reported that Liverpool were considering Rafael Guerreiro for a region close to £70 million last season. The fact is, and this is Christian Falk's answer, the fact is that at the end of last season there was a lot of evidence of a farewell to Guerreiro in the summer. This was because his contract only ran until 2020 and they couldn't agree on an extension. Dortmund didn't want to let him go on a free transfer in 2020, so Paris Saint-Germain and Thomas Tuchel were in conversation with his agents for a long time, but in the end Barcelona was his hottest prospect, and in the end Barca chose Junior Firpo instead of Guerreiro, who then extended his contract at Dortmund until 2023 in the late summer. Guerreiro is playing outstanding this season at Dortmund and not as part of a defensive four-man chain, but he has his qualities molded as a forward. I think that as a winger at Liverpool, he wouldn't have a chance with Mane and Salah. In addition, Guerreiro is not known to be an England fan. If anything, he would rather go to Spain, France or Italy. He's referring to he's not a fan of living in England and playing in England. And Christian Falk also said this about Timo Werner. His release clause is 55 million as a base value. I think he's talking about euros, and it can grow to 60 million if Leipzig gets into the Champions League. And I think this transfer is happening to Liverpool. Interestingly, Werner now has a new social media and marketing agency, and the boss of this agency is also Jurgen Klopp's manager. Werner is also talking a lot about Liverpool in the public eye now too. That's very, very good news. And also on the transfer rumor of Rashica, the Werder Bremen forward going to Liverpool. According to our information, Christian Falk said, Liverpool were interested in Rashica, but then the new coach of Leipzig, Nagelsmann, came to the Rasenball Sport side. He spoke to Rashica and convinced him to join them. After that, Rashica has had his head geared towards joining Leipzig, and Leipzig wants the player, but for significantly less than the 38 million euros of his release clause. There is no concrete negotiations yet between the clubs, but speculation of a 15 million euro offer is much more realistic. And hopefully that Leipzig signing of Rashica makes way for Werner to join Liverpool in the future. And Dennis Zakaria is another player of Liverpool's interest, and this is what Christian Falk said. Liverpool have been watching Zakaria for a long time, even before at his club in Switzerland. So far there have been no talks about a transfer, but rather there have been exchanges between his agent and scouts regarding Zakaria's development at BSC Young Boys. His style fits Liverpool very well. He's dynamic, he's great at tackling, a good number 6 that has a lot of speed and pushes the game up. If Henderson's time at Liverpool ends sometime soon, Zakaria will be a good option as a replacement. Our legend Günther Netzer told me that he's great, so if Netzer says this, it's true. Grujic is not a player of the same class. That's a very, very interesting take on Zakaria's development. So I think we should keep an eye on this transfer story. And I really, really hope that you guys enjoyed this Liverpool transfer news episode. A new career mode is coming later today, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Goodbye.